We're gonna go float a stretch of this river in northwest Montana. We got stonefly hatch happening, and so to be the tail end, we'll get golden stones hopefully today. But it's a gorgeous day. It's been raining.
Yeah, golden stone.
So it's been raining, so the river's been on the up. We've been waiting for it to get in shape, but now it's starting to come back down, and the clarity looks good on the sides, which is where the fish are gonna be hanging anyways when it's this fast.
Yeah,
so it should be good.
Pocketed and set everywhere.
Exactly.
Easy pickings.
Well, we'll see. We'll see about that. We'll be putting them in there as long as you're ready for me to yell at you a little bit. Everything's gonna be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm ready for some adventure. Let's hit some rapids and catch some fish.
Sounds good to me.
Cool, dude. Let's do it.
All right, man.
I've spent over 2 decades scouring the planet for adventure, the craziest extreme sports, and amazing cultures. Now I'm taking my love for travel and excitement and pairing it with all things brewed, and I'm taking you with me. So grab a tasty beverage and strap in. This ride's about to get wild. My name is Jeff Coxen. Welcome to the Brotherhood of Brew.
Right now, we're taking control. Tired of waiting for something new. Right now, we're taking control. Tired of waiting for something new.
So I'm back in Montana. Well, not really. After Bozeman, I just headed west. Word had it that Missoula had a badass brewery, so I called up my friend Tawney of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers and said, hey, dude, I gotta do some fishing while I'm in Montana or it just isn't a trip to Montana. As you could tell in our last episode in Bozeman, it had been raining and snowing a lot. This particular river was over 2,000 cubic feet per minute faster than it normally is. So we were a little on edge as to where we wanted to go down it or not, but I'm always game for some fishing. And what the hell, a little adventure.
All right, fishing right side. Really? Okay. Get those pockets right into it now. Don't worry about going right on top of me. Not bad. I want you I want you to think you're gonna lose your fly almost every single time. And then down in front of the boat, give you more float. Heads up, too. Go, dog. Oh, yeah, Thule, get some!
Oh, I just saw a rise back in there, Land, behind the tree.
Tighter if you can.
Now, it may not look it, but this water is extremely fast. Much faster than I'm used to fishing. Your typical fly fishing trip is pretty slow. The fish are only on the sides of the river in small pockets.
There.
It's taken me a little out of my comfort zone. I'm not used to fishing like this, but I'm up for the challenge.
Golden?
What is this? It's a golden stone. This is the hatch version.
West slope cutthroat, see the cut underneath his jaw? Gorgeous native fish right there. Stinks off the day now, boy.
Oh boy.
Here.
Tell me when you're good.
You just need some mead to drink out of it.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
That's-
Or powder to pour into your musket.
That's pretty rad. That's killer, man.
Yeah.
When you're going down waters like this, you cannot lose respect for the river. That's when bad things happen. Land and Sam are badasses on these boats. They spend a lot of their time going down this particular river, and they fish it a lot. So not only do they know the spots, but they know how to navigate it, even in tough times.
Leave that. There, good man. He's a little drunken Eddie. Another one. Better. That upstream bend now. Good. Like that little twitch too. Big man upstream. Upstream. Good. Right. Yeah! Woo! There it is!
Oh, Jesus
Nice
Christ.
fish.
He's a fighter.
Nice fish. That's it.
Hey, he's a good fish.
Let me get past the river. That's a nice big round. No, Julie. Yeah! Woo! Nice fucking work up the train.
Hell yeah. Oh,
Julie, stay.
hey, stand. Come on.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
gonna whack that one. That's
Hell
good.
yeah.
In true conservationist fashion, we love what we get from the land. Mother Nature gives us back what you can't buy in the store, and it's top quality, super fresh meat. We caught a couple fish and I asked Land to make his world famous ceviche. The best part about this is when we get back to camp, he's got us some gator and elk meat to fry up, and a lot of the guys on the team have never had either. This is going to be a real treat.
Man, you want a big whitey? You want a whitefish for the ceviche?
The day was epic. The weather was perfect. We caught fish. We had an absolute blast going down heavy, fast-moving rapids. But now, after 6 hours on the river, it comes to an end. I'm beat. They're beat. It's time for beers and whiskey. Let's get to camp and try some of this gator.
The sun is coming up, time for you to hide. Never gonna let you go, 'cause I know the story. I'm always coming back for more. There's nothing I can do but follow. This thing like milk is growing in the dark. There's nothing I can do but follow. I know you know we've got nothing but time on our hands.
Got some gator. Nice.
That's pretty good.
That was a look of satisfaction right there.
That's pretty good. You guys gotta get some of this. This is really good.
Oh!
It's pretty good, isn't it?
Whoa!
It's like one of the best things you've ever eaten.
Where's that been all my life?
It's really good.
Holy shit, that's good. It's not the
Like chewy.
reptile.
It was really chewy and fishy.
That's what I like about this is because it's like, you could overcook it and probably get pretty chewy, but
Yeah.
the consistency is pretty sweet. Like shrimp.
You had some Gatorade too.
It's like-
down in San Diego. It was ridiculous. This dude is so Creole you could barely understand him. And like, I'm about to buy you. Yeah. Right?
When you think of art, you don't think gunpowder. You think pastels, paint, acrylics, maybe some photos. But you don't think about burning stuff to make something beautiful. KJ Kahnle does. She's one of the only ones that I know about that does it, and she's extremely good at it. Another cool fact about her is she's a championship pistol shooter. She's badass. I'm not artsy fartsy, by any means. I can barely draw a stick figure, but somehow she's gonna show me how to make some art with some gunpowder.
Okay, so we're gonna burn some stuff.
We're going to play with gunpowder because it's way fun. This is my playground. This is a variety of smokeless powders that I mixed up special for you.
All right.
And since you're doing a beer program, I thought quite fitting that we do
Some beer.
a beer. This is a template that I cut out so that we can basically do the beer here. And we're going to keep part of it from burning initially because that's where the empty glass is, top of the glass. So we've
That's
got
awesome.
the template laid out here.
Right.
We're going to add some gunpowder around this edge.
How long did it take you to come up with your own little funnel like that? Is this like version 3 or?
Yeah, it's kind of version 3. It's a process, and then it bends, and I have to make new ones because of the way this template is and the design that we're going to do. We're going to burn it in stages.
Okay.
So this part is all covered up. And then we're going to burn this piece. Let me grab this right behind you. So we've got everything covered up. We can see a bit of gunpowder there.
Okay.
We have to weight it down. One of the things that's important in this whole process is because I like for it to explode because there's lots more fun if it explodes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I want it to explode a little bit, and it really creates a different burn when it explodes. So we're trying to keep some of the air out of it by doing it this way. And then we're going to add a bit of extra powder there. And let me grab safety glasses. And typically when I do this, I wear a respirator all the time, but just for this one would be all right. And one more look.
Wow, that's cool.
All right, so there was.
It's like a teenager's dream.
It is. Okay, so there's the first burn, and if we take all of these pieces off, we see we've got a. Actually, that worked pretty slick.
It does look really good.
Yeah, and then. So that's the start. We'll do another burn on this side, probably some on the bottom, and then we'll run edges.
So now, so you build your base. So I was watching you earlier. So you build your base, and now it's just about depth and.
Exactly, to get some depth and some detail. And to get the detail in the glass, we'll lay out the template in various ways to get a clean burn. And burn not quite so much on this side because we want light coming from this direction.
Right.
So this is going to be darker. Then if we have time and want to play, we might put some ground underneath it later on. So you ready to try this? I'm
ready. I was ready yesterday.
Sweet. So there's something special on that. Grab that paper. You get to do your own.
All right.
And we're going to add just a little bit of something to it. So actually grab the whole of
The whole thing?
The whole thing.
Okay. All right. Oh, we need the bottom piece, don't we?
Yep.
All right.
All right, so there's your base template. There's these pieces. And this
The logo of my company.
is the logo of your company. The trick to this, I actually drew this out and cut it out with tape.
Okay.
So we can put that on here, and if all goes well, that will stay white while everything burns around it.
Gotcha.
So the really trick is going to be to get this off nice and clean.
Fitting that the Phoenix is going to go on fire.
Oh, that's true. I like that. Yes, it's very fitting that the Phoenix is going to go on fire.
I was watching a little bit. We're just going to go around the edge here.
And just
Where should I start?
Start down right about here and all the way around. Oh, hang on.
Hold on. Look at amateur in the house.
That's all right. And now go with the gunpowder again. And if you let the, yeah, there you go. Nice. And let some of it get up on the template also. And that's probably plenty. That's way plenty.
Way plenty?
Way plenty.
Okay.
Okay, reach up there and grab that other sheet of paper that's got the hole in it.
Okay.
Okay, and line the hole up with the powder, and then I'll get my hands out of the way.
There you go. You said a little more on top, right? Are we good?
Let's wait on that. We need to put rocks around it to weight it down. Okay, and if you put a rock on top of your powder, because you can feel where the powder is, feel the lump.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so you don't want to cover up the powder
Okay.
because we want it to burn. And maybe another rock or
So basically, you're just trying to like give it just enough oxygen to burst.
exactly,
And
yes.
not enough, yeah.
We want it to burn, but we don't want it to, and we want it to explode a little bit because this kind of burn looks really different than if I were to just do this and lay a line of powder. That's going to look completely different.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's just got a cooler look.
Yeah, it does.
All right.
Like those darker pieces.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
Yeah, okay, so go ahead and put a little powder on the top there. And, yeah, we'll get it.
One more?
Yep, that should do.
Should do. All right.
Okay, and here's a lighter. And so that it burns evenly, be careful with that thing,
Yeah.
man. My hair's in the way and it's already
Yeah.
purple.
Was that an accident?
Well,
that happened?
yeah, it's when I was playing with the smoke bombs.
Ah.
Yeah, comes through my head and makes my roots purple. Yeah. So
Okay.
when you light it, you're going to want to just take that
Put that
and
and
put
just
it,
plug the hole.
plug the hole.
Okay.
Here we go.
That's so cool.
Sweet.
That's awesome.
All right, let's see what we did.
Whew.
Yeah, that's why I wear a respirator. Nice.
How cool is that?
Oh, sweet. Oh, cool.
Boom.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
So this little brush will clean it off. All right, well let's see if you ruined it or if it's still rocking.
Oh, you have no faith.
I know you can do this.
Okay. Look at that.
Ah, sweet. It's all right. That's bitchin'.
That's badass.
I like that.
I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
That's cool. I like this edge here. It's
Yeah,
really neat.
yeah. All right. Since you want to get something like this around the back part of the glass, this is a brand new experimental technique for me.
Me
So
too.
this is the first time I've done this kind of something. It could all go to hell, but that's part
There's
of this art style.
Chaos and art, right?
That's right. That's right. So, with that being said, we're definitely going to wear masks because when we start adding color, it gets a little bit stinkier.
Yeah,
And we're going to turn on our fan.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's hard.
noticed it yet. It's like
Yeah.
kind of negative effect.
That is so freaking cool. I'm really excited about that piece.
That's awesome. Thank you.
You're
This was
welcome.
awesome.
I loved it.
Let's go shoot some guns.
Let's go shoot some guns.
Cool.
There's a saying in the shooting world, it's called group therapy, and I need some. Now, this isn't the type where you sit down in front of some schmuck and tell him all about your problems. This is about putting groups of lead downrange.
Are you ready? Stand by. Beat. Finished. Unload, show clear. Get clear, hammer down, holster. Range is clear. That was better.
The slide feels different. Something's going on with the slide on my 34.
KJ is insane. She is fast as hell, she's super accurate, and she blazes through this course. Not only that, she's a world-class instructor at it. So halfway through, I switched roles with my crew. I got behind the camera, let them run this course, and watch them kill it. Some of these guys have barely touched guns before, and to watch them go from just a quick few minutes of instruction to blazing through the course, being accurate and having fun, it's definitely priceless. Watching KJ shoot is a work of art. Not only is she good at creating art with gunpowder, but watching her blaze through this course it's insane. To see somebody this fast at doing it and how accurate she is at doing it definitely explains why she's a champion.
So you shoot guns,
Yep.
you do art, what
Yep.
don't you do?
What don't I do?
Not a lot, right?
Well, I don't do boring things, maybe.
Right? Well, I think that's pretty evident with today.
Yeah.
So you live in Montana. It's known for being country, and big open skies, and cowboys and cowgirls and all this. And, you know, I think a lot of people forget, like, the communities that are involved.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of that. And, you know, you live in a community, it seems like it's pretty tight-knit.
It is, yes.
I mean, how many people do you shoot with?
Our local group that we shoot here in Hamilton, we have about 40 people that shoot regularly local.
Oh, wow.
And then from that group of people, we draw in people from Kalispell and Missoula and Helena and Great Falls that will be at the match that we have here tomorrow. So we'll have maybe 60 people here from across the state tomorrow.
Yeah. How many people are here in Hamilton?
In the valley itself?
Yeah.
Or in
Just Hamilton, say.
5,000-ish.
See, that's a big number. I mean, that's a pretty big number if you have that many people coming here in your group shooting.
Yes.
That's a pretty big
And
community.
and it's a great community. It's one of those communities that I found that you come in and everybody is helpful and everybody is kind, and I've not ran into one person that has had an attitude of I'm better than you or anything like that. It's just a really helpful, tight-knit group of people.
Yeah.
That's very welcoming for new people, and we have new people on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that I really enjoy about it is so many people are intimidated by guns and handguns in particular.
Right.
And then when you really take some time and let them very slowly work their way through the process, then it's not as intimidating as it was before.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's a big stigma on guns, especially nowadays with everything in the news and shootings and everything. So people can be, it's easy to get scared by it, but it's, you know, it's great to see that there's places people can go to learn, because I think that's a word, you know, that's a dangerous thing, is being scared of guns.
Yes, it is.
When you are able to wrap your mind around how a gun works, how it operates, and how safe it is when you do the right things.
Exactly.
I think that's, you know, and that's something that's lost in the country, I think.
Yeah.
You know, media hype.
Yeah. And one of the things that I find that, especially with my art and the fact that I shoot, it's so evident that it's not the object, it's the intent of the use. Mm-hmm. So I can put gunpowder in my loads, and I can shoot bullets out of my pistol. Or I can put gunpowder on my paper and create art with it. And I think that's the same with anything. It's the intent with which we use the object, whether it's guns or baseball bats or words even.
Yeah. No, that's, could have said it better myself. I think that's exactly what it is when you can introduce somebody to something that's supposedly dangerous and find out that it's fun also.
Yes.
Then I think it's a win. So.
And very safe if you pay attention. And the USPSA sport is an incredibly safe sport.
Yeah, it looks like it with all the little rules and things that go through.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, thank you for bringing us up here.
Thanks very much.
We had a blast.
Yes,
cool,
literally had a blast.
Welcome to Kettlehouse Brewing. It's massive and it's brand new. It's right on the Blackfoot River, just east of Missoula in a little town called Bonner. I'm meeting with Kettlehouse president Zeb Harrington, who lives and breathes Montana. He also lives and breathes beer. He definitely knows his stuff when it comes to everything inside this place.
Like we were talking about earlier, the story for the beer in our facility kind of starts in this room where our 2-row malted barley comes in. We get it delivered from Great Falls, Montana, which is just up the river from here. So we're on the banks of the Blackfoot River now, this facility, and the Blackfoot used to be the road to the buffalo for the native people who lived here, and now it's the road to the barley. So one of the unique advantages we have in Montana is we can get a lot of our ingredients close by. So that Golden Triangle area up near Great Falls, Montana is one of the best places in the world to grow barley, and so we're able to get it right in the neighborhood, which is fantastic for us. So that gets delivered here. We try and source ingredients as locally as we possibly can. So the majority of the hops that we use come from Yakima, Washington, which is also right in the neighborhood. We're in western Montana, so it's not very far away. And the hops industry in Montana is starting to grow slowly now. So that's kind of cool too, that we have some more local options.
Yeah.
But
now Montana's known for like wet hops, right?
Yep. And you know, unfortunately, there's just not enough planted acreage right now for us to rely on that.
Right?
Yeah, and there's one up north of us in Whitefish in that area too.
That's what I heard too.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool to see that industry popping up, you know. And but you know, the highest volume ingredient we use besides water is barley, and so it's really cool to get that so close by. So that comes in through our mill, and we actually don't have to handle it at all. We built this facility about 1.5 years ago. One of the things that has happened for us is that we've failed to plan for success in the past. So this is the third Kettlehouse brewery in the area. We have 2 in Missoula, where we used to do all of our production, and now they're just taproom breweries. So everything you drink at one of those breweries is brewed on site, and smaller systems, we can rotate through the beers a lot more quickly, and it's kind of a testing ground for us, and we can check out all the new creative stuff, and then when it kicks off, then it can make its way here.
That's great too, because you can just look at production numbers there, see who's buying what, and
Yeah, absolutely. You know,
if it's going to be worth it to go into the big boys.
That's right. Yeah, our flagship beer is Cold Smoke Scotch Ale, and that's an odd Montana thing, I think, to have a flagship be a Scotch Ale. It's unusual, but our customers told us that was going to be our flagship. You know, it's not necessarily not necessarily what we would have picked, but it's a fantastic beer, and it's a dark beer that makes craft beer drinkers out of light beer drinkers. So it's a good gateway beer.
There you go.
So. Well, after the grain leaves the mill, this is where it's coming. This is our brew house. This is a 60-barrel JV Northwest system out of Oregon, actually. So we were able to get our brew house fairly close to home as well. 4-vessel system, and we can do 3 turns on this in a day. We have 180-barrel fermenters over here, so 3 brews a day will fill up one of those fermenters. We do primarily ales. We do some lagers, but mostly ales here. So. They head over to the fermenter for a couple weeks after this. And I wanted to say that when we moved out to this facility, we have well water that we get from the aquifer that runs below the river here. And I was attributing, I think this is the best beer we've ever made. I was attributing that to the water. And I still kind of stick by that because it's really good water coming out of the ground here. Our head brewer, Tim, will tell you it's because we have better equipment than we've ever had before. Right. So we'll just agree to disagree there, but it's a good thing, whatever's happening.
Maybe you're both right, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool.
Well, we did 20,000 barrels worth of production last year. We'll exceed that this year. Moved into some new markets, and like I said earlier, we've failed to plan for success, and moved into bigger facilities that we thought would solve our capacity issues, and they never did. And so this is kind of the answer to the future of the company. Yeah. We have room to expand here, put more tanks in. We're on nearly 20 acres, and so. We can actually expand the building out if we ever got to that size that we needed to. But this has allowed us to distribute to all of Montana, which we weren't able to do before. And that was kind of our first priority as a company. We wanted to take care of our neighbors. And then this year we'll be able to start to look at some markets outside of the state, but still nearby, eastern Washington, northern Idaho.
Nice.
That sort of thing. So. Yeah, so this is what we call the cellar. This is where all of our fermenters are, and these are 180-barrel tanks. They're from a company called Quality out of Wisconsin, so another American-made section of the brewery. And so 180 barrels, if you think about that in terms of gallons, it's almost 5,600 gallons in each of these tanks. And so 3 turns off the brew house would fill up one of these. We also have some 90-barrel and 60-barrel fermenters, but what we're pulling off the brew house is called wort, which is basically just sugar water, right? Yeah. And so we're putting it into the fermenter and adding yeast, and then it's going to stay in there at a set temperature for a couple of weeks.
Nice.
And when we reach the levels that we're interested in, which that's what all this clipboard stuff is for, we're going to pull the fermented beer off of here, which is partially carbonated. Yeah. It's going to go to the next phase of the process, which is a centrifuge. We used to filter all of our beer, or just not filter it at all, and we'd run it through if we're going to filter it, we'd run it through a plate and frame system. And when we built this facility, we invested in a centrifuge, which just spins any solids still out of solution that are still in there out of solution. And we found that it's helps the beer maintain more aroma and more flavor than what we were getting out of the plate and frame filter. So I think from a beer quality perspective, it's been a really good investment for us. And
anything that increases the flavor and flavor in a beer is worth its weight in gold.
Absolutely, yeah. Pretty small footprint, and we really get a lot out of it, and our yields have been better too. So
really,
yeah, one of the things that we have to do here is we want to produce as little waste as possible, obviously, and be conscious of the resources that we're using. And also, because we're not in the city limits and we're kind of out in the middle of nowhere, we have to treat all of our own wastewater that comes off of this and be very careful about the way that's handled. And so we do have a wastewater treatment facility just across the lot over here, which is fairly oversized for what we're doing here, but that's a nice thing. But obviously, the less waste we can produce, the better. So the centrifuge is up against this back wall over here.
Gotcha.
And again, for the volume of beer we're doing, it's really a pretty small footprint that's involved. And I wish I could tell you what everything on here does. I don't know. Luckily, we have people that are smarter than me that do know.
Yeah.
But we're spinning everything out of solution and getting a much clearer product that we can then transfer into these flat bottom tanks over here, which are called bright tanks.
Yeah.
And that's where the beer is going to be carbonated and pulled off of to either be kegged or canned.
Nice.
So We'll look at the canning line next, and that's really where we focused a lot of our efforts with this facility. When I first got into the beer business, I thought canning was probably the easiest thing. It's like, well, you put the beer in the can, put the lid on. Well, it turns out there's a lot more to it than that, and particularly when you start distributing, and time, temperature, oxygen, and light are the enemies of beer, and that's why one of the reasons we love that aluminum can package is it protects the beer from light. And we've invested in a really nice canning line that keeps a lot of dissolved oxygen out of the beer. So our shelf life is better. We don't have to worry about it as much when it goes out to the market, and we can't control what's going on with it anymore.
Isn't it funny that now everything's going to cans, where can was like the enemy? Everyone's like, oh no, I want bottle.
Absolutely.
I want a bottle, I don't want a can. Now everyone's like, cans. I want a bottle.
Well, we were the first modern brewery in Montana to can beer.
No shit.
And Tim O'Leary, the founder of the company, it was his idea, and it was really just because he wanted to bring beer on his boat.
Yeah.
And so bottles didn't work for that, and he wanted cans, and he wanted 16-ounce cans just because he liked the idea of being able to fill up a pint glass with what's in the can and that volume.
Yes.
So we've stuck with that, and it's worked really well for us. So we do 16-ounce cans, we do 4-packs and 8-packs, and a great river option. And I think years ago when they started canning, they had no idea that the company would eventually end up on the banks of a river, but it's a cool way to help tell our story now, and explain to people where we came from, and that this outdoor focus has always been really important.
So do you have guys that go on their break and fly fish down there?
We do.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very convenient.
That's a good little stress reliever in the middle of the day.
Yeah, and we actually across the river is state land, and so
even better.
Yeah, we have guys that are talking about trying to hunt that next year. And
there you go.
It's
you just sit here at work in glass.
Yeah, it's a fantastic spot. We have nice binoculars in the office, so we can sit and watch out the window, and we have a herd of bighorn sheep that's quite frequently on the hillside across, and so pretty amazing. One day I looked out of my office, I could see bighorn sheep, mule deer, and elk all from the same window.
Dude, I'm so jealous of the Montana breweries in general. Have views. I mean, it could be mediocre beer, and you could just sit for the views. You guys have $1 million views.
Absolutely. Well, our mission statement for our company has always been to match the quality of our beer to the quality of the Montana outdoor experience, which we think is a world-class experience. So
by far,
we have to make phenomenal beer, and it's easy to look out the window here and be reminded of what we're doing and why we're here.
Yeah, it's not horrible.
No, there are worse places to be, that's for sure. I'd say probably 60% of the beer that we produce goes into a can, the other 40% into draft.
Mm-hmm.
And the next phase for us is we're opening a tap room at this facility. So we have 2 tap rooms currently in Missoula, and we're about halfway through the construction process of a third out here. So we're hoping September is going to be the grand opening, and we have the amphitheater that you guys drove by on your way in right next door, where we're having live music concerts, and we work with a local music promoter called Logjam Presents, and they built that amphitheater out there. Fantastic company, and they brought in I think 6 concerts last year and 20 this year. So it's been really busy. We had 2 just this last week, and great crowds. It's an awesome way for us to tell our story because we're a little bit out of town, and a lot of people pass by here, but they might not have the occasion to drive in. Now they do, and now they're going to be able to come and have a beer. And this is a popular floating river out here, so we're excited to have people float down in their boats and walk up the trail to the brewery and have a beer at the tap
spots to do more down there?
Yeah, part of our outdoor landscaping plan is going to be a trail down to the river, and a spot where people can stop and come up and see us and have a beer and sit on the river and see a show. And
not often you get to see that. You see that sometimes like on big rivers, where there's big boats and stuff, but like a floating river, that's almost unheard of.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah, and actually we could float from this facility into Missoula and take out about a block and a half from our original facility, the south side location. So that's kind of a cool thing. We haven't done it yet, but everybody talks about having a float home from work day. Yeah. So maybe that's the...
Just like call up, hey, we're missing this form. Can you bring this? Or can you bring, such and such? All right, he's on the way.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And like you said, it's just nice to be out here and be able to take an hour and fish at lunchtime or just take a drive up the river.
Well, I'm excited to try some beers.
All right.
I think that's our next stop, right?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Cool.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Now we're headed to Missoula. This city rocks. I love this place. I've been here many times. Glacier National Park isn't far away. We were just down in Hamilton shooting, but now I'm here for the beer. So I'm meeting with head brewer Tim Mason to show me a couple beers that he loves here at Kettle House.
I have two of my favorites here. One is our flagship beer. It's called Cold Smoke Scotch Ale.
Yeah.
And it's made with Montana grown barley and golden hops.
Yeah.
Some caramel malt, a little brown sugar to make it just a tinge of sweet, but not too sweet. The famous line about this beer in town here says, people say, looks dark but drinks light.
Yeah.
So you drink it, you know, it's a dark beer. People get a little nervous, but it's one you can drink year round, even in the summer.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Wow.
Crushable.
That, yeah. What's the ABV on it?
Comes in about 6.5%.
That's nothing.
No,
That's great.
It can sneak up on you.
It will. So, we were out fishing a couple days ago.
Okay.
And I noticed Land had this.
Yes.
And I didn't know what it was at first. I thought it was an energy drink because the way the can's done, you know?
Right.
And I was so busy fishing, which is probably a bad excuse as why I didn't have very much beer on there, but because we kept going through and I was up in the front of the boat and the river was so fast, it's like, okay, cast. And then I'm sitting there and I'm literally like nowhere. I'm like in the boat like this. I've got the can here and I'm trying to cast. And I'm like, let's take a sip real quick and put it down, cast. And then we get to the end and I was like, so what are you drinking? He's like, oh, I got some Kettle House. I was like, dude, really? He's like, well, you're going there in a couple of days. Don't worry about it.
That's great.
But no, God, the drinkability is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's good. Our founders, Susie Rizza and Tim O'Leary, you know, when they started canning, I think it was 2006, they wanted to be able to bring the beer in the boats, go fishing with it, and they were one of the first, you know, in the country and Montana to do that. So
yeah, first with cans.
Out well, yeah.
When you guys do 16-ounce cans.
Yes.
That's the way to go, man.
Something more bang for your buck.
It is. It really is. And so this is, I can see why Zeb was saying this is a gateway beer to darker ale, which is excellent. So I think a lot of people get scared with darker ale, think it's too heavy, you know, it's not good when it's hot out, you know, you more go with the lighter beers, but I'm a dark guy. I prefer dark ale.
Yeah, and you know, with 6,400 breweries now in this country, ballpark, you know, people are getting more curious and drinking craft beer. Yeah. And a lot of them are overly done. This is nice, easy drinking. You know,
all the way through. And this is your brainchild?
No. This is one that I adapted when I came here, you know, and kind of keep it going and producing it.
It's ridiculous. This is really good. So what made you come to Montana? It's a big change from California and Chicago.
Yeah, well, I came out here for the, for the mountains.
Yeah.
For the supposedly less stress.
Yeah.
The beer. And a chance to, build a crew and brew great beers.
Yeah.
You know, continue Kettle House legacy.
All right, so what do we got here?
Okay, so this is the newest one. It's one of my brainchilds. This is the newest one we put in a can. It's called Northwest IPA.
Ooh.
We just started canning it about a month ago. This is, 2-row barley, again, grown in Montana. We add a little carapils, a little white wheat, and some oats, and then we hop it up a pound per barrel on a dry hop, trying to make a full flavored beer. This one comes in about 5.5%.
Oh yeah.
So this was built, like the workers around here want to have a beer after work, have a few beers, you have to be able to function.
Yeah.
So this is the kind of one that we came up with at 5.5%. And then we can actually function after work. And try it during the day.
Good sessionable
beer.
beer.
So it's kind of taken off, and we're really happy with it, and we hope it continues.
Cool. Looks good.
Yeah.
Cheers to that. That's awesome.
Right.
You could crush that all day.
Yeah, I know. That's
great.
The kind of thing, you know. A lot of us, when we want to drink beers, just want to drink 10.
Yeah.
Get talking. So we had to adjust the ingredients and the alcohol, turn down the alcohol and turn the ingredients up, so to speak. So make it full flavor.
That's delicious. I really like that. What's this called again?
It's called the Northwest IPA.
Northwest IPA. Okay.
We started canning it about a month ago.
Yellow cans?
Yeah, yellowish brown.
Yeah. Yeah. God damn, that's good.
Whoever you are, I need to know. The sun is coming.
So I noticed the barrels at the other place. You guys playing around with some aged barrel stuff?
Yes. We've been doing started one of our guys, Zach Nelson. He's been started building a sour program here. He's doing an excellent job with that. And we do a lot of barrel aging with. We have a stout called the Freeze Out Stout. We release every Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, obviously. And we do a deal with, where we release barrel aged cold smoke, which is pretty popular.
That would be good. What are you aging it in?
Whiskey rye barrels from Dry Fly Distilling in Spokane, Washington.
Oh.
We've been working with them, and it's been turning out great. Very pleased with the results.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
sounds really good.
Yeah, we've been selling bottles to go. The customers have been loving it. We have a barrel-aged double haul IPA, which is one of our other faithful beers here. People love. It's an English style IPA, 6.5%. And that does well in the whiskey barrel also.
You don't see a lot of aged IPAs.
No, you don't. But the English style with this one it's a little maltier.
Yeah.
So it does well.
Nice.
It does very well.
Very nice. Well,
yeah.
I'm excited to see where you guys go, for sure. I mean, you guys are killing it right now.
Yeah, we're on our way up, for sure.
Definitely.
It's been a fun run.
Well, thanks for having me here, and pleasure meeting you.
Anytime.
Dude, that's a goddamn good IPA.
Good. I'm glad you like it. I'm going to drink 6 of them today.
Yes. The beers here are wild, and I can't wait to try a few more. Who better to have a couple with than my buddy Land, as we talk about something we're both passionate about, conservation. All right, Land. Well, we floated the river, now we get to have beers.
I like it.
That's the best part of this. So I just went up there and just picked 3 random ones that I haven't. Obviously, I haven't had anything here. You probably had everything.
I don't know. I have one that I come in here, so this might be new for me too.
You're a cold smoke guy,
I'm
right?
a cold smoke guy.
Dude, it's legit, isn't it?
It's
so good. So we're gonna try the first one here. This is a Blood Knot Orange IPA.
Cool.
So Blood Knot Blood Orange or IPA. I've only ever had a Blood Orange once. So there's a place down in Alameda, or not Alameda, but San Leandro, which is right next to where I live, and they have a blood, and it's called 21st Amendment. So they do pretty good, but we'll try it. But
cheers to you.
Cheers to that, man. It's pretty legit.
It is good.
It's really smooth.
That's like summery, right?
Right. Yeah, that's something you're gonna take out on the water. So we didn't talk a whole lot while we were on the river about what you got going on.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you're the president of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. I'm a member. You know, it's something that, I'm super passionate about.
Yeah.
It's obviously just because, what you're doing is what's needed. But, what do you guys have in the pipeline right now? I mean, obviously, your hands in just about everything, public lands and outdoors and.
Yeah, I think probably the biggest thing that we're working on right now that's brand new is there's a lot of public water problems. And so everybody's trying to privatize either public land or public water. And the reason they want to do that is because they want to have their own honey holes or they want to exploit it. Right?
Yeah.
And so we've got stream access. Let's say stream access here in Montana is unbelievable. So yesterday when we were on that river, we're mostly through national forest land. Mm-hmm. So we can go on both sides no matter what. That's the way it is all across the country if it's public land.
Yeah.
But if half of that had been private, in some states like Wyoming and Colorado, you can only access half the river. And then if it's all the way private, you can float it, but you can't get out. Like you can't put your foot in the water. And so that's just like stream access. And that's really stream access is great here in Montana. So where you have up to the high water mark. So
high water mark.
Even if it's
Oregon,
private,
same way.
So even if it's private on both sides, we can walk up and down by the high water mark.
Yeah.
Now in Wyoming and Colorado, if it's private on both sides, if you set anchor, you're trespassing. If you get your foot out, you're trespassing. So these states, New Mexico just passed a law. It's like draconian kind of, right? Like it's like, why are we reversing back, Yeah. And then you have places like Louisiana where now marsh access, people are getting in fights over it. There was some guy poured a bunch of gasoline on some guys that were actually fishing in a legal spot, but he got pissed because he thought it was his private place. So there's marsh access and then beach access, like in California or in North Carolina, where again, wealthy landowners are saying, hey, we don't like people walking in front of our house. That beach has been open forever, and so they're trying to change the laws. So this is an emerging issue, and nobody really wants to touch it because it's so hot.
Right.
And it's also different from every single state.
So as a landowner, obviously I know, and I'm thinking legality-wise, they're worried about somebody getting hurt on their land. Now say the states abide by what you're pushing for. that there's public access on this private land to the high water mark. Will that, exonerate them from being legally held responsible if somebody gets hurt on that land, even though they own the actual plot?
Yeah, no, I think they're worried about like somebody getting hurt, so the liability from that. Like, if there's gross negligence, yes, you're going to be in trouble. Like, if you dig some like big pit or something that somebody falls into, yes, you're going to get in trouble. But normally, that you're not going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
I think what it's more about, though, besides like the liability, is just that people they want to have their little slice of heaven, which I don't, I understand. Mm-hmm. But you also got to you can't keep out the public from these public places, right?
Right.
And so that idea that somebody can't walk by your place without you getting pissed, like, well, you bought that place, like, this is.
You knew that river was there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think there just needs to be almost more education when people are, when people buy a new place. This is what the existing laws are.
Yeah.
But what we're trying to do is make sure that you and I get educated and everybody else, so that we stay legal.
Yeah.
Right? And then in places where we have bad, let's say, stream access, like in Colorado and Wyoming and New Mexico, we want to change those laws to make them just like Montana or Idaho or Oregon.
Yeah. All right, let's try the second one here. So we've got a New England IPA.
Okay.
I'm big into New Englands right now. They're my favorite style of IPA. So this one...
Cheers to public land, right? Now tell me more about it.
Right. First off, it's delicious.
It is good.
So this is a 6.5.
6.5. Whoa.
It's not bad. Not bad. Not bad at all. That's great. Nice haziness.
So why are you into the New Englands right now?
I like the haziness, unfiltered.
Yeah.
It's hard to screw up an IPA, New England IPA. So I like New England's, and I also like a Cascadian Dark. I'm not into the real bitter IPAs. Some of them have their place. Yeah. What are you guys doing on the hunting side?
So on the hunting side, we're playing a lot of defense right now, I'll be totally honest. I'm trying to make sure that people don't defile some of our last best places, and whether that's like national monuments have kind of been in the news a lot, or if that's right now here in Montana and in Wyoming and in Nevada, there's folks that are trying to get rid of wilderness study areas. So these are places that were set aside 30 plus years ago and said, let's take a look at these and see if they need wilderness designation. Mm-hmm. Well, they've been sitting in limbo for 30 years. So something needs to happen. Like, we need to figure out if they're wilderness or not. Mm-hmm. But there's folks that want to just be like, let's just get rid of them. And so to me, we need a process there and figure out which ones need to be wilderness and then which ones that don't. And like, I'm sitting here right now saying there's probably a bunch of them, that parts of them don't deserve wilderness designation. But let's have a process and look at that rather than say, oh, no, we're going to take away that protection for all of them.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there's a couple, I think that's something immediate we're working on. I think the biggest one that we're probably working on right now for hunting, and it does a little bit of fishing too, it's called the Land and Water Conservation Fund.
Right.
So this fund's been around since 1964. It comes from offshore drilling, that was happening in the Gulf of Mexico. So non-taxpayer money. And it goes into a fund called Land and Water Conservation Fund. It's the #1 access fund here in the United States. So 70% of the fishing access sites are paid for by this Land and Water Conservation Fund here in Montana. You have conservation easements like on the Tenderfoot Creek that the Elk Foundation has been working on a ton. That's all protecting some elk habitat, but at the same time providing access. There's a place just east of town here that they bought, I think they bought 10,000 acres and opened up like another 30,000 acres because it was inaccessible public land. And so it's the #1 access tool in the country. Every single county in America has used this money. Now it's also used for like swimming pools and parks, like the soccer games that my daughter was playing on this weekend. Like the park was paid for in part by the Land and Water Conservation Fund.
Whoa, really?
So this thing is set to sunset this year and without action. And so some people don't want it because they don't think the federal government should own any more land. I'm like, we're not making any more of that. And there's this thing called the outdoor, recreation economy, and that's $887 billion. Like,
holy cow.
Let's feed that, right? Because if you feed that, we can grow it. And everybody talks about jobs in the economy. If we help feed kind of our public lands, which is the cornerstone of that $887 billion, not only can we sustain that, but we can grow it, right? And those are real jobs. And like places like the Kettle House that we're in here right now, they're naming their beers after kind of public land things, right? You know, and like outdoor opportunities, and they're doing that for a reason. It's because people love to live here in Missoula and they love to go recreate, right? And so it's like,
what the state's known
let's
for.
double down on that, right? Rather than push it away. So that's a huge one that we're working on right now. And what I love about it is that one is not just for hunters. It's not just for anglers. That's for anybody that really likes to go outside. Yeah. So it's
public landowners.
Exactly.
Right?
We're all public landowners, you know.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. So the last one, I've been wanting to try this since we started this, and obviously it's just because, especially where I come from, but this one's the fresh bong water. So this is hemp pale ale. So when I saw this, and it was funny when I reached out to you, I was like, all right, what are some good breweries to go to?
Yeah.
It was like the first one that popped out with me, and which I think is funny because there's so many good things about. That's another thing that's crazy about this country is you can't utilize hemp here. We have to get it from Canada,
which is ridiculous.
Fucking bullshit.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Well, you can thank Hearst for that, because he was worried about the timber industry, and so to see something like this is really cool. And I know it's what does it says right here, made with Montana grown barley, which is great because I know these guys, a lot of these breweries here resource locally as much as they can, which is, I mean, you can't ask for better than that because that creates jobs too.
Absolutely.
So made with Montana grown barley and a Canadian grown hemp seed, this beer is smooth drinking, slightly nutty, light ale. So, I mean, it's only 5%, so it'll get you in trouble. But a good, smooth, sessionable ale, drinks all the way through the day. But, well, man, I can't thank you enough for taking us down the river.
Come on,
it was a rough morning at first, deciding what we wanted to do. I had a blast.
I think, and again, I think I told you guys, I was trying to make sure that we just knew it was serious, right? Like that river is not a lazy river, so you got to be paying attention all the time. And I probably freaked you out a little bit too much, which is okay though, because then we got up there and figured it out. And
I'm gonna come in here and put the fear of death in these boys.
And somebody did, unfortunately, somebody died up there like a week ago today.
Yeah.
And that river, if you make a mistake, sometimes it's not very forgiving. And so, you just got to be serious. But no, it was great, man. What a great day of weather we had.
It was perfect.
The fishing could have been a little bit better, but we caught fish.
It's such a different style of fishing that I'm used to. Because you got these tight little places you got to put into.
Action all the time too, right? Like there's a whole shot there, a whole shot there, a whole shot there.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
So you're not waiting for big eddies. You're not waiting for all this. You're not trying to go in open water. It's right where to go, and right when it dropped, boom, they hit almost every time. Yeah. So cheers to that. Thank you.
A little fresh bong water.
Yes.
Cheers.
It doesn't smell like weed. But it's damn good.
It is good.
Well, yeah, I really appreciate you bringing this on this. Obviously, backcountry hunters and anglers is it's like pertinent that you guys keep doing what you're doing. Obviously, and it's great that you guys are growing leaps and bounds. Membership is, for anybody, I couldn't imagine anybody not joining you. It's less than a parking pass.
Oh, totally. Yeah. It's $25, right? Like I always talk about, you can't afford not to become a member.
Yeah.
Because it's cheap, and you get our magazine 4 times a year, which, Sam that we were on the river with, he's just a stud, and, makes a great magazine. But it's like, again, we are all public landowners. So, we're backcountry hunters and anglers. Well, if you care about public lands, you should think about becoming, part of our organization, because, we're trying to make sure that we're welcoming to everybody. And if, we're all our public landowners. We own 640 million acres, which is like, I married a school teacher, so I should have probably married a ranch girl here in Montana, so I have my own big, huge private, but I don't. But I can live like a king, right? Because I own 640 million acres. Like that stuff we were up in yesterday, we just barely touched it. We were in the middle of it, Like there's public land surrounding there, and it's pretty steep, but once you get up on top, it just starts to bench out. And you can go for, days up there and just explore. And that's, anybody can do that, not because I just live here in Missoula or because somebody I married or how much money I made last year. Yep. Right? And it's open to every single American, which I think is pretty cool and it's unique in the world.
It is, because you don't get that out east. I've lived out east.
Yeah.
You get little pockets here and there.
Totally.
And you have to share it with a bunch of idiots carrying guns everywhere in the same hunting season that you're at. Right. And you really have to choose whether or not you think you're going to get shot the next day or not because somebody's not being responsible. And here it's, you could have the whole area. Like, how many boats did we see yesterday?
0. Like, we saw the one other boat that we were with, right? Like, we had 2 boats.
2 boats, that's it.
Didn't see any wade fishermen at all. Now, it's partly because that level was pretty high yesterday. But
there's a lot of scared people.
Yeah.
That's all right. It wasn't as bad as they thought it was, but no, it was a great time, man.
No, it was fun.
This trip was the quintessential Montana experience. I love the state, and I know I keep saying it. There really isn't anything bad here except the beer laws. Not a big fan of those. But I think it will change and evolve in time. If you're ever planning a trip up this way, I know you want to go to Yellowstone. And I do too. It's awesome, but you're missing out on so much more that Montana has to offer. Get out, explore a little, have some fun, and damn it, drink up adventure.